Does your partner often say things to you that are hurtful? Or do you find yourself getting upset or even offended by things your partner says or does? So yes, this is a natural feeling, but over time, taking these things personally can actually cause major problems in the relationship. And if you're a fellow ADHDer, you'll know firsthand how easy it is to get caught up in our own emotions and often misinterpret our partner's intentions. But the truth is that taking everything personally is actually hurting your self-esteem. So in this video, I'm going to break down why taking things personally is driving a wedge between you and your partner and how to start changing that cycle. So taking things personally isn't just a quirky character flaw, it's a full-on relationship destroyer. When we personalize every interaction and conflict or perceived slight, it erodes our sense of self-worth and contaminates the emotional climate of the relationship. Then resentment builds, communication breaks down, and intimacy withers. If we want to build healthy, resilient partnerships, we've got to learn to disentangle our egos from the inevitable ups and downs of relating. So taking things personally often stems from much deeper issues beneath the surface. It's never really about the thing that triggered the argument or hurt feelings. There's always something more going on under the hood. So let me give you an example. Say your partner asks you to put the trash out. You meant to do it, but you got too busy and you forgot. So when they come home and they find out that you didn't put the trash out, then they flip out and they accuse you of never listening or following through. Now you may think to yourself, whoa, why are they getting so bent out of shape over just missing putting the trash out? But here's the thing, it's never about the trash. So when your partner does say things that feel hurtful to you, there's often something deeper going on underneath the surface. It's usually something that they're feeling themselves, and it's not specifically to you. So it's not just about the trash. That's just the straw that broke the camel's back. So the chances are there have been other instances where your partner felt that you didn't pull your weight or you didn't take their requests seriously. And over time, that resentment builds up until even the smallest thing sets them off. And we can tend to fall into what's known as the actor-observer bias. Basically, that means we attribute our partner's behavior to their character rather than looking at the situational factors. So instead of thinking my partner is overwhelmed and feeling unsupported, we jump to my partner is a control freak who'll never let up and she's saying hurtful things to me. Essentially, the actor-observer bias holds our partner to a different standard than the way that we act. And I've been guilty of this as well. We can all be guilty of this at times where we feel defensive in the moment. Like, geez, it's just the trash. Why are they making such a big deal out of it? But when we step back, it's not about the trash. It's about the fact that we are forgetting our responsibilities and leaving our partner to pick up the slack. Or we're coming across like we don't care by the constant small bits and pieces that add up. They weren't mad about that one chore. They were frustrated by the pattern of behavior. But the thing is that when we take these things personally and get caught up in the heat of the moment, it's really hard to see the big picture. We get tunnel vision, and all we can do is focus on how we feel attacked or misunderstood. But if we can zoom out and look at the context, it becomes a lot clearer why our partner is upset. That missed doctor's appointment. It could be a sign that your partner doesn't feel like they're a priority for you, forgetting to take the trash out for the umpteenth time. Maybe your partner is burnt out from always having to be the responsible one. By recognizing the deeper issues at play, we can stop taking things so personally and actually start addressing the root of the problem. Of course, this is easier said than done, especially in the middle of an argument. But this is a skill that we can build, we can practice, and we can develop over time. So next time you find yourself taking something personally from your partner, take a step back and ask yourself, what is this really about? What is the underlying issue here? Because chances are there is a lot more to it than meets the eye. As human beings, our egos can be especially fragile. We tend to wrap up so much of our self-worth in how others perceive us. So when our partner says or does something that triggers that insecurity, it feels like a knife, right? Straight to the heart. But here's the thing, most of the time, it's not really about us at all. When we take things personally, we're assuming that everything is a direct reflection of our worth as a person. But that's just not the reality. People say and do things for all kinds of reasons that have nothing to do with us. When we're in the thick of an argument or feeling attacked by our partner's words, it's all too easy to internalize that criticism as a reflection on our inherent worth. We think, I'm a terrible listener or I'm just not good enough. But the truth is, most conflicts aren't really about us as people. They're about specific behaviors or circumstances that need to be addressed. So one technique that can be really helpful is externalizing the problem. So instead of saying, you're making me feel bad about myself, try framing it as, our communication can feel a little disconnected at times. And that might sound like a small shift, but it takes the focus off you as a person and puts it on the situation at hand. So it's not about your deficiencies, it's about finding a solution to an external issue. Another key piece is accepting responsibility for our role in conflicts. It can be easy to fall into a victim mentality. And when you do fall into a victim mentality, it's where it feels like the world is against us and that we are constantly at the whim of the universe. We feel like we're constantly being judged or misunderstood. But the truth is, we're not just passive recipients of our partner's actions. We have agency and the ability to choose our responses. So for example, let's say your partner makes a comment about how you never follow through on your commitments on trash day, right? Instead of immediately jumping to, you're always criticizing me, I can't do anything right, you can take a step back, acknowledge your partner's frustration, and take ownership of your part. Maybe it's, you're right, I haven't been as reliable as I could be lately. Let's talk about some strategies for how I can improve. When we feel hurt by something someone said, it can feel like the words that they're saying are a reflection on ourselves. But the thing is that our ego is not us. Our ego is simply thoughts that we have. So it's important to separate the emotion that you feel at the time from actually what is being said. They're two separate things. So let's say, for example, your partner says you're lazy. It can be very easy to take that personally. It can be very easy to say, well, that is a direct attack on me. But ultimately, when you think about it, this is simply your partner's perspective, and this is filtered through your partner's feelings. So when your partner is saying that you're lazy, they're not saying that you are lazy. What they're saying is that they're scared that maybe you don't care enough about the relationship to do the things that you say that you're going to do. That is ultimately what they're saying underneath. So it's important to separate the words that are being said from the feeling of your ego. Don't take them as an attack on yourself. As soon as you start to remove your ego from the situation and actually take the time to listen to what your partner's saying and dig deeper into how they're feeling, the more you'll be able to overcome obstacles in the relationship. So I understand that it can be easier said than done. But this is something that takes practice. And the more that you do it, the easier it gets and the quicker you can get to solutions in the relationship and actually start moving forward. And this is exactly what I work with my ultra normal members. And if you do want to join us, then I invite you to sign up for the free relationship bootcamp, where I'll show you the system to build yourself a thriving relationship. Click on the link in the description down below to take the next step. And again, this isn't easy, but that's where nonverbal communication and active listening becomes so important. If your partner's getting worked up, resist the urge to jump in and defend yourself. Instead, take a deep breath and offer a gentle touch, a hand on their arm or a hug if they're open to it, and then ask questions to better understand where they're coming from. Maybe, I feel this is really upsetting you. Can you tell me more about what it is that you're feeling? Or, how can I better support this situation right now in order to move forward? By approaching the conversation with genuine curiosity rather than defensiveness, you create a space for deeper understanding. And implementing these strategies takes practice, but it's really worth it. And if you are interested in more videos on relationships, then do make sure you are subscribed to the channel for new videos every single week. To truly stop taking things personally, it's really crucial to build long-term emotional resilience. We have agency and the power to choose our responses, but not just our external responses, but our internal responses too. Internal responses are crucial because they shape our perception and reaction to events long before we express them outwardly. So to improve these internal responses, we need to cultivate a mindset of growth and learning. So one key strategy is to practice reframing challenges as opportunities for growth. So cognitively thinking about the challenge that is happening right now, and rather than seeing it as a bad thing, seeing it as an opportunity. This involves consciously shifting your perspective from seeing difficulties as threats to viewing them as chances for self-improvement. So when you find yourself taking something personally, you can ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation? How can I use this as a chance to strengthen my communication skills or my emotional resilience, for example? As an example, if a partner's criticism feels like an attack, instead of immediately reacting defensively, take a moment to reflect internally. Consider what specific feedback is being offered and how it might help you grow. This shift in perspective can transform criticism from a source of hurt into a valuable learning tool. And this requires a lot of practice and learning to validate your partner's feelings, both internally and externally. And if you do want a deeper dive onto how to validate your partner, then I will leave you with this video right here. I'll see you over there.